Okay, so I'm kind of doing a vlog today, but I didn't have any real witchy stuff going on this morning. You know, I did my normal thing where you get up and get the kids ready for school and get some coffee and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm about to do, it's Tuesday, so I'm about to do St. Martha's devotion. I did have coffee and still, surprisingly, right? Anyway, so I'm emptying water and getting her cup. Hold on. Coffee cup. Okay, well, I thought it was recording when I did all of that. Anyways, what I did here was I left the water, put the water down, and the coffee. St. Martha loves coffee. This is just my little area on my altar here with all of her stuff. Dragon's blood incense. Here. Her prayer card. And her candle, which is just one of them that I got at Walmart candles for these kinds of things. And so it's Tuesday, it's her devotional day if you're working with St. Martha, and so I leave her fresh water and coffee. St. Martha loves coffee. And I do the prayer that's on the back of the prayer card every Tuesday, let the candle burn for a little while, and that's what I do for her setup. What else was I gonna say? I have a little tips while we're over here. And something I want to show you. So anybody who keeps an altar or altars around the house knows that these things get really messy really fast. The amount of incense that are there or offerings that you're putting out, things like that. So I highly recommend, this is just a tip, this is an empty coffee can, right? So we have tea light candles, ends of incenses, things like that, and the incense ash that gets everywhere. I always have just this coffee can here on my altar right over to the side to dispose of those things rather quickly, right? Just to have something there to drop stuff in. That's really helpful when you're actively using altars all the time. And then the other thing that I wanted to show you, which is for Hecate and the main part of the altar there, I found these roses. They come in one rose like this. It's a live rose, but it's been treated to last like a couple years or something like that. And so I got her the black one. They had purple, orange, and black, if I remember correctly, because they're sort of Halloween decor. It's very perfumed. And you don't put any water in it. It's just in this because I don't have a smaller vase. And anyway, I just wanted to show you that because I thought it was so cool, and I gave it as an offering to Hecate. Okay, so that's my work with St. Martha. I'm going to do my actual devotion with her off camera, but I showed you what I do. I read the prayer on the back, give the offerings to her, and her candles lit and everything like that. Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Thank you, St. Martha, for all of the work and the help that you do on my behalf and for my family. I just give blessings, gratitude, and thanks. I don't remember hitting record. Anyway, I wanted to show you real quick. I got these at Five Below. They're incense holders. So there's a moon one and a star one and a sun one that I'll show you. I can't remember how much these were. They weren't $5. I don't think. Anyway, they're really awesome. Ceramic, you know. I also got the Let me show you the one that I'm using right now. That's under a bunch of ash. This is actually a tarot card. It's also ceramic. I got that one at Five Below as well, but I got those a couple years ago and I didn't see any more there this last time. But one of the other things, new things that they have at Five Below that's also really cool are these playing card boxes. So this one, and they had Queen of Hearts. So I got the Ace of Spades one. So I just thought I would show you that. So this is my little area here in the kitchen. I have the kitchen Madonna and the saint statues, saints that I work with on a regular basis when they're not actively working. They just kind of all hang out here for my spirits, and the candle that I have is the guardian angel one, which is the spirits that are part of my guardian court and stuff like that. Again, there's always incense, ash, and stuff like that going on here. So never mind that, it's just part of a regular working altar. I refresh the water. And this will get cleaned up. I just don't do it every day, so it winds up looking like this. And then this is a little offering dish. Tends to be what I put the ash in before I toss it out and things like that. But I also, the other thing that's ash in here is ancestor money that I burn on a regular basis. And while we're talking about those from the Five Below store, this was the other one. So there was the star, the moon, and then this sort of sun one. Okay, while we're talking about giving offerings and doing this stuff, because I tend to talk about this stuff a lot, particularly on TikTok, but I do have those videos about ancestor money, right? And not ancestor money, I'm sorry, giving ancestors offerings. So, if you are white, of European descent, the different sort of things that we have to do for our ancestors versus other cultures and other traditions that have been continuing ancestor veneration up until present, versus a lot of the time our direct ancestors, whenever they were colonized, whenever that particular thing happened, whenever they became Catholic, which maintained a little bit of that sort of ancestor veneration to a certain degree for a while, and then converted to Protestantism, where that sort of flatlined, and the most that you have over ancestor veneration is sort of like continuing maybe Christmas traditions, continuing recipes, and sometimes occasionally talking about your ancestors with like your kids or your cousins or your siblings or whatever the case was. Those are all considered ancestor veneration, but it's so minimal because it's not ritualized. It's not actually giving back to the ancestors. It's just enough energy activated in your line to sort of keep it open, if you will. That's like the bare minimum of ancestor veneration that we a lot of the times grew up with. So our work is different than other culture work who have easy access to ancestors who have been venerated, and there's sort of energy and those lines have more back and forth availability to them, that kind of a thing. So I do this work, right? I do my offerings for my spirits. I have St. Martha I do on Tuesday. The other ones that I do, like working with Hecate and some of my primary spirits on a regular basis, that is actually a lot more worshipful or veneration like that, because the larger spirits that I tend to work with, like deity figures like Hecate and things like that, I don't generally call on them for anything. Like I venerate Hecate because she is the witch queen. Anytime I'm doing magic, anytime I'm active, whether it's small magic, big magic, little ritual ceremonies, different things like that, at any point in time, I am essentially channeling her energy. This is how I see it. I'm channeling her energy and her ability and her workings. But I don't directly call on her or petition her for very much at all. There are spells that I do have that call on her epithets, which I will do, or some of her spirits, and like giving interaction with her that way. But for the most part, I'm never calling directly just on Hecate full stop, right? It's always an aspect of her, one of her epithets or something like that, and channeling that particular energy in spell work. But most of the time, if I'm petitioning spirits, it's local spirits, it's saints, it's folk saints sometimes. It's witch elders. So those spirits that in witchcraft would be considered, I guess you could say, the same sort of understanding as saints would be in other things, but the spirits of the witches who have passed away, usually we have their names from witch trial records and things like that. I will work with them. They're considered witch elders in my practice, and they're at the same sort of understanding as it would be a saint, right? They were human, lived a human life. Now you can work with their spirits to guide you, to teach you, to do that kind of stuff. They're just more easily accessible. Deities tend to be like, you call them, right? You put in a petition and they're so high up, maybe an assistant gets back to you, right? They might get your message, but they don't directly necessarily like intercede, right? They're just like maybe dispatch somebody to deal with it or something like that. So it's not always as visceral or as like active and intentional like that when you're calling on higher deities. I do venerate, I do worship, I do work with Hecate and other higher spirits like that. But for the most part, if I need work done, if I'm petitioning a spirit because I need something done, it's going to be a local spirit, it's going to be a saint, it's going to be a witch elder, it's going to be somebody that's more directly and closely related to my spirit court to get things moving and done, then it is going to be a deity. So, okay, I rambled about that for 5 minutes, but the thing that I wanted to talk about here is incenses when it comes to offerings and like daily workings, like daily, I guess you could call it a daily practice. Mine isn't always daily. Okay. So I have different spirits that I do, like St. Martha's on Tuesdays, and then regularly giving offerings at my altars and things like that. It's definitely not like a daily thing that is consistent or all the time. Like that just doesn't work for my flow of things. So, but I wanted to talk about these incenses, right? These little, they're rather cheap. You can get a box of a bunch of different ones on Amazon, which is what I did to get the variety pack. Then you can get the individual packs of like 20 of the one specific that you want if you want that. But these are all of them here, right? Okay, so we have different things. Road opener incense. I use this incense. This is one of them that I have a big pack of. When I'm doing spell work specifically for road openers, obviously I'm using this incense. But also, if I just need a small petition, like I'm not doing a whole big elaborate thing, I'm just petitioning or, you know, adding to the offerings a request of something, something that's small. Like I need this block removed. I need this thing. I need this. Of course, there's unblocking, but I need this road to be open. I need opportunities to come my way. Okay. Against jealousy, this one. So if you're dealing with evil eye stuff, suspicion of evil eye stuff, petitioning some of your protector spirits with a little bit of that. I don't use that one as much. The one I use a lot more is Pure House. So if it's just casual, it's usually protection and Pure House are the ones that I use on a more regular basis with my spirits, right? I'll petition my this altar here of sort of a group of spirits, right? The ones that I work with and interact with like this, that all fall under that sort of guardian angel category. For either Pure House or protection, depending on what I'm doing, right? If I'm cleansing out some stuff and I've got things removed, I've got, you know, energy moving and I need it to be clear, or I need it to be kept up energetically, it's Pure House. When I feel like I need a little bit of extra protection today for whatever reason, it's this one, protection. Pure House. Black Magic's always really good if you're throwing down some, you know, stuff. Money attraction. I use this one a lot in all of my money workings and all of my stuff, but also like throwing it on an altar with a little bit of like petition work. And love. Right? That could be for general love, could be for love workings, could be for general house love stuff, it could be for any of that stuff. There are other ones too that I don't even have in this collection. These are just the ones that I do have and the ones that I use on a more regular basis. So, what are we going to do here? Let's do, I wanted to do Feelin', which of course, I wanted to do this. Against jealousy one, this sort of evil eye protection one. I didn't bring out my unlocking or unblocking incense. I do have that one too, but it must not have been in the same area. And it's all the ones that I grabbed, so. Right. Incense. We'll also say, I showed this on my St. Martha when I was doing that, but the phone wasn't recording, so, you know, there's that. So with these ones that, like, the thing gets down there, I tend to, use the incense to light them. Most people probably already know or do that, but just in case you're new and you need a tip, here's a tip. Of course, it's going to be not cooperative right now because I'm on camera. Why would it? Worked perfectly for the St. Martha one. I was like, oh yeah, worked immediately. Of course it did. The camera wasn't on. Right? This goes here again with water and incense. All right. So let's also talk a little bit about ancestor money. So this is ancestor money, and this is really great to use as offerings. Also, you know, you put food out for your spirits. You put alcohol, coffee, like I did with that one, out for your spirits at any time, you know, as offerings. Also flowers, perfumes or jewelry or money, or like there's a lot of things that can be given as offerings. One of the easiest ones for us to do that the spirits really do respond to, for whatever reason, they kind of go crazy for this, ancestor money. So giving ancestor money is also a good offering. It's rather easy to do, so I figured I would show you what I do. I have my little, this is a ceramic, it's for cooking. I got these in a 4-pack from Michael's, which they might have now. I got them a couple years ago. And I use them on my little offerings at different places my altars, different places for offerings. So this is here, right? You just fold the paper up like that. You can also write on this paper if you have like a particular petition or something like that that you're requesting of them with payment, but this is Joss paper, so it's much thinner and burns a lot easier. You can get these on Amazon as well. This is the traditional one. It comes from Chinese folk magic. And this one came from, and it's designed to work with your ancestors. That's what it came from with traditional Chinese folk magic. And they still do this kind of stuff with more than just what would be money at this time. They do it with necessities, like this Joss paper folded into different shapes and stuff, and then they'll burn it for things that they think their ancestors may need and different stuff like that. And it got adopted into American folk magic with the Joss paper, and the ancestors really like it, like I said. So it's thin, it's designed to burn. You can get it on Amazon, and they have it in the traditional look like this one, and they have it also in like American dollars, if that's something that you're interested in as well. So you would light the paper on fire. It goes up pretty fast, and let it burn. Okay, and I put that on my ancestor altar, but I wait until the flame goes down a little bit because I have a broom over there too. I'm just really big on fire safety, so whenever the question comes up of whether or not, and then I just make sure that they know that that's their offering. When the question comes up about fire safety, like leaving candles burning or, you know, having a spell go through the night or anything like that, my thing is safety first, always when it comes to any sort of spell work. Particularly because if you're doing spells and you have experience with this, you know that spell candles specifically are very unpredictable. What that energy in the spell is going to do is very unpredictable. So it's better to err on the side of caution when it comes to that. You can put the flame out with the intention that this is going to be relit the next day, and do a little bit of activation on that candle again when you're working it the next day anyways, and light that candle up again while you are awake, while you are in the house, while you are present. If I leave, I put them out. If I go to sleep, I put them out. I don't leave candles unattended. And so if you have something like this where the flame gets rather high, I often hold it back. My ancestor altar is against the wall and the flame kind of gets a little bit high. I'm not taking the risk of like the wall or the tapestry that I have up there catching fire because it's just a little shelf that's up against my family tree ancestor thing that I have there. So I hold it back a little bit till the flame dies down and then I offer it to them. That's just a little tip and trick in case anybody feels pressure like they need to leave candles burning unattended or they need to take a risk like that. I don't. I absolutely do not. That's not going to be something that happens around here. I always do fire safety first, TED Talk over, I suppose. Okay, so makeup's done, hair's done, essentially. This is what I'm wearing today. It's just one of these black maxi dress things and knitted deal and moon belt.